Most U.S. troops serve in Afghanistan's scorching deserts and high mountains, but there are also Americans hard at work in Kabul, the country's teeming capital.
Kabul's important, not just because it's the capital of the country, but because it's where 1/6 of the Afghan population lives.
3.5 million people. Unfortunately, much of the money from the opium trade flows to middlemen and corrupt government officials here, where the DEA also has boots on the ground.
We're first and foremost criminal investigators. So we bring that mindset to the battlefield, if you will. We're looking at not just the drug cachet, but how this fits into the larger picture, identifying the organizations and trying to attack the organizations and its leadership.
We've gotten a lot more of our street agents in country now. They interact directly with their Afghan counterparts.
We accompanied a DEA backup team for a meeting with a Taliban informant. We agreed not to identify the agents. So tell me about this meeting we're going to here.
We're going to meet with a cooperator who is providing very significant information on a group of bad guys here.
Recruiting informants is extremely dangerous. That motorcycle just made me a little nervous. It's a lesson driven home by what happened in December 2009, when CIA officers 90 miles south of Kabul met with a Jordanian informant recruited to infiltrate al-Qaeda's leadership. He blew himself up, killing 7 CIA employees and a Jordanian national.
How long does it take for you guys to develop a confidential informant like the one we're about to see?
It depends. They're developed in all different manners. But the vetting of the individual and the corroboration of the type of information the person is providing DEA, that's the lengthy process.
Intelligence gathered this way seriously disrupts the drug trade that fuels this insurgency and often leads to weapons stockpiled by the enemy.
Tell me about those IEDs that you guys found.
It's been a series of them. We've gotten about 4 of them recovered in the last month. They had a couple of remote control detonating IEDs, with cell phones, and we got 2 of them in about a 3 or 4 day period.
Our involvement and our ability to take those drugs and that asset away from the Taliban stops them from being able to purchase the weapons and maintain their insurgency.
On this op, the informant is recruited at a gas station outside of Kabul.
The level of this cooperator is very significant, and we'll move to a second location where you guys will not go.
Let's just say that this guy passed on some information. Who makes the decision as to whether an operation is going to be launched based on that information?
If something comes in, it may be something that tips the scale where an operation can be initiated.
And human intelligence collected in high-risk operations like this is crucial to defeating the enemy. The transit route from poppy field to market is long and complex. It requires farmers, processing labs, and shipping stations. The DEA and their Afghan counterparts monitor these rat lines, collect intelligence, and interdict the flow of drugs. This is how nearly all of these missions begin. It's the middle of the night. The helicopter crews are out preparing the aircraft. The rest of the troops are inside the hangar. And just before dawn, we'll mount up, get aboard the birds, and fly off to the objective. Afghanistan is some of the most inhospitable terrain known to man. On this mission, it looks like the red planet of Mars. Helicopters transport the DEA, Spec Ops, and NIU raid force to the objective, cleverly camouflaged in the desert. These 2 shelters are a desert drug lab. They were found through intelligence means. They contain opium and hashish. The DEA agents and special operations troops, both Afghan and American, mean to see that none of this ever makes its way to market. So tell me what we've got down here.
All right, sir, right now what's going on is basically we've got a drug press in Tent 1, like we anticipated. The DEA guys are doing their drug technical piece right now. Once they're done with that, chargers are getting prepped. We're going to burn both structures. We found drug hash in the second tent. The patrol's out right now. They should be back in about 20 minutes. They're looking for caches. Should be out of here about 25, 30 minutes.
The special operators set fire to the lab and blow up the drugs and processing equipment.
Fire in the hole!
There it goes.
DEA also targets transshipment locations, way stations, and stash houses on the opium rat lines that bring heroin to market. This looks a little bit like Shangri-La, but it's not. Pakistan is just the other side of that ridgeline, and this is a major opium transshipment point. And inside, look at this.
So far we found morphine, heroin, and poppy seeds. We got 100 kilos of heroin in this first building already. And about 10 kilos of hash.
Tell me again the street value of this.
Well, just right here, street value for the heroin in Afghanistan is probably about $200,000. In the U.S., probably approximately $3 million.
How much of this would have gone to the Taliban?
All of it. All the proceeds from narcotic proceeds goes to the Taliban in this region. Traffickers mark it with an emblem so they can identify their product.
This stuff's ready to go to market.
This ready to go. It's hash.
So where's the lab?
This guy's lab is out in the mountains. He, what he does, cooks the dope, opium to morphine, and it converts it from morphine to heroin. Then he brings it into his compound and stashes it.
So this is on the transshipment?
To Pakistan.
This stuff was on its way?
Correct.
Thanks to special operators, U.S. DEA agents, and their Afghan counterparts, these drugs will never make it to market. There's more stories of commitment and courage just ahead. Winning civilian hearts and minds is a key element of victory in Afghanistan. Tech Sergeant Richard Oberstar is an Air Force PJ, a Spec Ops pararescueman, saving American, NATO, and Afghan lives. So what percentage of your cases are Afghan civilians?
Well, I guess I would put it at about 30%, 30 to 40%.
It's got to be very satisfying to know you're saving lives.
I believe it's very, very satisfying. I'd like to give a lot of the credit to the air crew that's flying us there as well, because it is a team effort.
We accompanied them on multiple casualty evacuations.
One of the calls that we get is a 4-year-old boy, local national. He's been hit by a truck, and stable vitals that we have, and we have to transport this intubated patient that's on a ventilator, bring him to the Roll 3 here in Kandahar, which is a higher echelon of medical care. With a 30 to 45-minute flight, we have to ensure that stabilization continues with monitoring, making sure that the ventilator is running, making sure, noting any changes to the patient's status.
His father was terrified.
Father was upset, naturally, but we're going to keep him on board our aircraft, and we're going to try to provide some level of comfort for him as well, and have him as an escort for his son as we bring him to Kandahar.
The U.S. Air Force Special Operators fly the young boy to Kandahar for treatment. He's whisked into a medical facility and immediately given the best care available in Afghanistan.
Let's say within a given month, if you run 50 calls, that'll tell you the number of people, local civilians that we're picking up, which is winning hearts and minds here in Afghanistan.
For American troops on the ground in Afghanistan, some of the lessons learned during the surge in Iraq are being applied here.
We recognized in Iraq that what really mattered was having the Iraqis support their government and their security forces, and the same is true here with the Afghans.
The principal thing for us is trying to establish the security within the local areas provided by the Afghans.
Brigadier General Larry Nicholson knows how important security provided by Afghan national forces is to victory.
Every Marine here is not only a combat Marine, but he's a trainer. And they're going to be working very closely with the police, the Army, in the months ahead.
They're going to be shooting a pad of the torso on each target.
Right now they're doing some marksmanship training.
Marine Major Jordan Walzer trains Afghan soldiers and police.
This is just normal training they do between operations. These guys are fully trained and they go out with us on operations. In fact, they just came off an operation. It's a fully partnered force. We live together, eat together, fight together. This is going to be their show eventually. So again, we're totally partnered. There's really no difference between us and them.
This is essential to counterinsurgency. Training, mentoring, and partnering from small units to the very top.
We can do all of the language and cultural training available to man and still never have the language and cultural ability that they have and the understanding that they have.
I'd like to call to everyone's attention that Joe Mahiden has been the brigade commander of his brigade in Helmand for 4 straight years. He is known by all as the Lion of Helmand. It has been a great honor for me to associate with such a great warrior. I will tell you that there's not an issue that we have faced in the last 12 months that my number one personal confidant, the number one person I sought advice from, is my partner here, Joe Mahiden.
For the last couple of months, we have been like brothers. We have fought like best friends. I'm really thankful to the American military. They send the best soldiers and Marines to Afghanistan. They bring security to one of the hardest and most dangerous places in Afghanistan.
So the good units, those who have been in existence for a while, who have gotten experience in combat, who have good leaders, very much get it about what it is that we're trying to do.
I think when I came here, I was hoping to find somebody I could work with. I was hoping to find an Afghan partner. Not sure I counted on finding an Afghan brother, but I have, a lifelong brother.
It's not just American men on the front lines.
We are denying that sanctuary and that ability of the enemy to terrorize the rest of the world.
Army Major Mariah Taylor is on her second tour of duty in Afghanistan.
I believe that together, the coalition and the Afghans and the U.S. are really working towards improving the quality of life for the Afghan people.
Lance Corporal Shannon Borkman is a member of a female engagement team, or FET.
The FET team I've been doing for a couple months now. I really like it. I think it's really good for this country because the military can't talk to the women.
We've broadcast over our radio that there's going to be a clinic for the ladies and for the females in Carnation. We've got a female engagement team that's down here.
We're going to go in and talk with these females. These gentlemen have said it's all right if just the females go in there and speak, so we're going to take Holly in there. She's going to translate for us.
Lieutenant Hannah Sides understands how critical female engagement teams are, and translators like Holly are indispensable to their mission.
These women, all they really want is stability and a future for their children.
We're just going to find out if they need anything and how everything's going in their lives and what their lives are like here. That's about all we're doing. It was good. They were they're breaking fast right now, so they were making dinner for tonight. They were a bit surprised to see females out here.
They said that they really appreciate us coming in and talking to families, seeing what they need. They would like medical care, and they really respect the females coming in to talk to the families.
It's good, and the more that we come out here and the more they see us, the more they'll get used to us and the more they'll open up to us.
The capture-kill mission to take out bin Laden is next. Don't go away.
I think the essence is that this is about trying to ensure that there's not another 9/11 attack that is planned on Afghan soil.
For General David Petraeus, America's mission in Afghanistan is clear, and in the fight against al-Qaeda, the death of Usama bin Laden was a great victory. That capture-kill mission, executed by a Joint Special Operations Command Task Force on May 2nd in Abbottabad, Pakistan, was a textbook example of direct action.
Direct action is where you get a piece of intelligence or somebody to take you to a target, and you go out and you attack that target and take care of it.
Locating bin Laden in his walled compound was a result of years of highly sensitive and dangerous intelligence collection and analysis by the CIA and other U.S. agencies. On April 29th, his location was confirmed. By then, Navy SEALs and Army Night Stalker air crews had already been rehearsing the mission for weeks. 2 May 0030. Night Stalker helicopters take off from a secret base in Afghanistan, headed for Abbottabad, Pakistan. Aboard, 24 U.S. Navy SEALs. On descent into the compound, one helicopter was damaged.
The bird goes down, a backup bird came in. The pilots that were there destroyed the bird, while the SEALs were getting Usama bin Laden.
At approximately 0100 local, the SEALs breached the compound walls.
First of all, you're moving. It's not like you're sitting there as a sniper and watching for the good shot. You are going in there to take control and to finish the mission. So, first guy through the door breaks left, second guy breaks right, third goes left. You hug the walls, go down, force the targets in the middle so you don't get friendly fire on each other, and then you go on to the next room.
In the White House Situation Room, the president and his national security team watched the raid unfold in real time. The 6'4" bin Laden, along with his 29-year-old fifth wife, were found on the 3rd floor.
Find a target, attack the target, neutralize the target, and come home. Direct special operations is kind of the bread and butter of the SEAL teams.
Justice has been done.
The nation celebrated, and intelligence analysts began the hard work, pouring through the treasure trove of documents, videos, and computer drives the SEALs retrieved. The U.S. Department of Defense released this captured video showing a pathetic bin Laden watching himself on TV. For General David Petraeus, who's nominated to be the next CIA director, the materials recovered from the compound will be invaluable.
In short, I have enormous respect for the men and women of the agency, and if confirmed, I will do my utmost to serve, to represent, and to lead those great intelligence professionals.
Though bin Laden is now dead, the war on terror isn't over. Today, over 100,000 Americans serve in Afghanistan, 2/3 of all coalition forces in the fight.
At the end of the day, to accomplish our core objective of ensuring that this is not once again a safe haven for al-Qaeda or other transnational extremists, there has to be an Afghanistan that can secure and govern itself.
Until then, young Americans will continue to serve and sacrifice.
What's the toughest part of your day?
Well, I think actually any time that you get news of casualties, of losses of seriously wounded troopers, that's the toughest part of the day. And that never gets easier, as you know. Occasionally journalists ask if you can get hardened to that, do you get inured to that? I have not found that to be the case.
More than 1,400 Americans have made the ultimate sacrifice in Afghanistan, 18 of them Navy SEALs. During the War on Terror, 2 Navy SEALs have received our nation's highest award for valor, the Medal of Honor. Petty Officer Michael Mansour in Iraq and Lieutenant Michael Murphy in Afghanistan. On May 7th, 1 week after bin Laden was killed, the U.S. Navy christened a new destroyer, the USS Michael Murphy. Her sponsor, Murphy's mother, Maureen.
I want to be very close to all the crew members of the Michael Murphy and anyone that steps on board that ship.
As far as special operations forces collectively go, I think it's full employment for a long time because we are in an insurgency. We have to succeed on an insurgent battle space, and the experts in this are our special operations forces.
Across the country, Americans take great pride in the mission executed to take out bin Laden, including former Navy SEAL Nelson Miller.
The nation sent the best unit on earth to do the mission to kill that guy the other night. It's fantastic, but they didn't do it by accident. We've proven ourselves in combat for years now. And the president had choices on who to send, and he sent the SEALs. And I have nothing but pride for those guys and a large portion of jealousy. I wasn't sitting on the helicopter next to them.
As you've seen in this special report, the combined effect of military pressure, mentoring Afghan national security forces, and cutting the flow of funds from the opium trade are all essential elements for winning this war. Training, partnering, and sustaining Afghan security forces until they can defend themselves and sever the ties between opium and terror are core principles for victory in this book. Those challenges are being met by tenacious soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and highly skilled DEA agents. Theirs are war stories that deserve to be told. From Helmand Province, Afghanistan, I'm Oliver North. Good night.